So section R5, they're going to ask you how to find the domain. We will study how to find the domain in section 2.3, but today we're just going to know how to find the domain in general. So the first example we're going to take, if they ask you about find the domain. Every time when they ask you about finding the domain, that's how we're going to do. Let's do an example about that. If they give you -4 over a plus 9, let's do it x. So we don't get confused. A is a variable, x is a variable. Let's do it x plus 9. Every time when they ask you find the domain, you're just going to take the bottom part here. This is the only part we will use. So here on the side, I'm going to say x plus 9 not equal to 0. Not equal to 0. We're just going to solve it. Don't confuse yourself about the not equal sign. It's exactly the same thing like equal sign. So how are we going to solve this one? I'm just going to say -9 from both sides. Cancel these. That means x not equal to -9. So this is how to find the domain. We're just going to take the bottom part here, not equal to the 0. Then how to solve this linear equations by moving the number here to the other side. So we're going to say -9 from both sides. So x not equal to the -9. Now, how to write down the domain? That means the domain, the inputs here, all the numbers except -9. So we will say domain is going to be equal all x value such that x not equal to -9. All x value such that x not equal to -9. So you're just going to write down this here. So every time you will see exactly the same thing here. All domain equal, even if you're doing the homework on MyLab Plus, you will see x, parentheses x, such that you're just going to write down x not equal to -9. That's the solution for this example. Here's another example about that, which is we're going to do the same thing. If they ask you find the domain for a minus 3 over 7 plus a. You see now the variable is a, not x. That means we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to find the domain by taking only the bottom part. So on the side, I'm going to say 7 plus a not equal to the 0. Then I'm going to minus 7 from both sides. So cancel these. So a is going to be not equal to the -7. That means I'm going to do exactly the same thing here, but my variable on the first example is x. Now with the second example, my variable is a. So I'm going to say the domain is going to be equal a such that a not equal to the -7. That's it for this example. So this is the third example, y over y squared minus 9. To find the domain, I'm going to take the bottom part here and say not equal to the 0. Look to this side here on this part, y squared minus 9. First thing, this is polynomial, binomial, and there is difference between two squared, because the y squared is y times y, and the 9 is 3 times 3. So check what I'm going to do. I'm going to open two parentheses, not equal to the 0. I'm going to put one y here, one y here, 1 3 here, 1 3 here, plus minus. Then I have to keep going. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to write down the first parenthesis. Always when you have two parentheses, equal or not equal to the 0. It's the same thing. You're going to write down the first one, not equal to the 0. And on the other side, you're going to write down the second one, not equal to the 0. That means you have two solutions. How are we going to solve this one? You're going to say minus 3 from both sides. So y, because these cancel, is going to be not equal to the negative 3. This is the first solution. On the other side, you're going to add 3, cancel these. So y is going to be not equal to the 3. That means I have two solutions. Y not equal to negative 3 and y not equal to 3. So the domain is going to be, you see, instead of the A, I'm going to put y, such that y not equal to 3 and negative 3. Y not equal to two numbers, 3 and negative 3. This is the domain for these questions. So here's the important thing. When you have y squared minus 9, you see, I'm taking just the bottom part here, not equal to the 0. I'm going to look to this bottom part. Negative between 2 squared. So I have to open two parentheses, y plus 3 minus 3. Then I'm going to write down the first parenthesis not equal to the 0, and the second parenthesis not equal to the 0. Solve the linear equations here by minus 3 from both sides. So y is going to be not equal to negative 3. And add 3 to the both sides, y is going to be not equal to the 3. That means this is the solution. If you have any questions about this one, you can ask. Next example, you will see we're going to use the AC method. Let's see, find also the domain. Now we have x squared minus 64 over x squared minus 6x plus 5. When they ask you to find the domain, I'm just going to care about the bottom part here. So I'm going to use this part. Let's write down this part here. X squared minus 6x plus 5, not equal to the 0. Now check this part here. I have to use the AC method. Why? Because it's a trinomial with 3 terms. 1, 2, 3. So I have to use the AC method. There is no GCF, the first step. This is the second step. 3 terms. So we're going to use the AC method. 1, here's the A. This is the A, and this is the C. So 1 times 5 is going to be 5. That means AC is going to be 5. We're going to factor the 5. We have only one option, which is 1 times 5. So I'm going to use this option to get 6, because if I say minus 1 minus 5 is going to be negative 6. So let's use this option. So here is the first one, x squared minus 1x. I don't have to write down the 1. Minus 5x plus 5. It's going to be not equal to the 0. I'm not going to confuse myself about the 0. Now I have 4 terms, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to group the first 2 terms and group the last 2 terms. And here's the not equal to the 0 here. Now I'm going to look to the first 2 terms. What's the common between the first 2 terms? I have, perfect, x. X squared, which is x times x. And the second one is just x. So the common is x. So I'm going to write down the x. Now I'm going to find the leftover here. X squared divided by x. Here is x squared divided by x. That means x times x divided by x. You're going to cancel the x's. The leftover just x minus x divided by x, x divided by x. Cancel it. The leftover is 1. Don't write down 0. So it's going to be -1. Now check here. What's the common between -5x and 5? So I'm going to find the common here. You see, this is a review about what we did yesterday. -5x, which is -5 times x, and 5. So the common is just 5. That means it's going to be plus 5. Open parentheses. Now we're going to divide. -5x divided by 5 is going to be, cancel the 5, is going to be -x. 5 divided by 5 is going to be 1, so it will be +1, not equal to the 0. If you look to the parentheses, we got totally different parentheses. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the sign here and everything inside the parentheses. So I'm going to write down x -1 -5. You see, I changed the sign. -x is going to be +x, +1 is going to be -1. It's going to be not equal to the 0. You see, now we got exactly the same parentheses. So I'm going to write down just one parentheses, x -1, and the left x -5, not equal to the 0. Now we got exactly the same, the previous example. If you remember the previous example, we got 2 parentheses not equal to the 0. 2 parentheses not equal to the 0. I'm going to do exactly the same steps. And we will keep doing these steps. So I'm going to write down the first parentheses not equal to the 0. And the second parentheses here not equal to the 0. How are we going to solve this one? I'm going to add 1 to the both sides. Cancel these. So x is going to be equal +1. On the other side, I'm going to add 5. Cancel these. So x is going to be equal 5. That's mean my solution is going to be the domain, the variable is x, such that x not equal to 1 and x not equal to 5, like 1 and 5. This is the solution from this example. You see, the main steps here is how to use the AC method, because it's important. So when they ask you to write down the expression in lowest term, that's me, here is my expression. I need to simplify this one. Here's the main thing. Be careful. You have a plus between this term and this one. And you have a plus between this term and this one. So I can't simplify 15 with the 6. I already know 15 and 6. You can divide this one by 3. You can divide this one by 3. You can simplify it to 5/2. But you can't do that if you have addition or minus between the terms. Minus between the terms. So I have to convert that to multiplication. But how? If you look to the first part, the one on the top, if you look to this one, I have common between 5x and 15. What's the common between 5x and 15? Someone tell me. So here's the equal sign. Someone tell me, what's the
Would it be
Right?
3?
Do you have a 3 here on 5?
Oh no, never mind.
So what's the next number?
5.
5. Let's do it here on the side. So I already know how you're thinking. So it's okay, it's fine. Because 5x is 5 times x. 15 is 5 times 3. Check what's the common now. 5. So here's the common. I'm going to open parentheses. 5x divided by 5. You see, we're doing exactly the same steps. 5x divided by 5. I'm going to cancel the 5, the left over just the x. Here's the plus. 15 divided by 5 is going to be 3. So x plus 3. Now tell me, you remember when I told you everything, if you have a number and parentheses, that means what's the operation here? Multiplication. So now you have multiplication. I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom part. Do I have common between 2x and 6? Two x and 6, 2x and the 6. 2x is 2 times x. 6 is 2 times 3. So what's the common? 2. So I'm going to write down the 2. Now we're going to divide. 2x divided by 2 is going to be, cancel the 2, just x. So it's going to be x. 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3. So it will be plus 3. Close the parentheses. Now, I convert the operation between the two terms to multiplication. How? By finding the common denominator, the greatest common factor from the top and the greatest common factor from the bottom. Now let's check. There's multiplication. X plus 3, is that the same thing, x plus 3? Yes or no? Check the parentheses.
Yes.
Exactly the same. So I'm going to cancel this one with this one. The leftover from the top is 5. The leftover from the bottom is 2. So you see, we simplify this expression to a lower term, just 5/2. Just 5/2. So keep in your mind, you can't cancel the term if you have like this. You have to make it multiplication. Multiplication you can. Multiplication between two parentheses, multiplication between number and parentheses, multiplication between number and parentheses, you can cancel exactly the same numbers. And you can simplify the numbers, but I can't simplify 5/2, so I'm just gonna write down 5/2. We're gonna do another example about that, so we're gonna practice about how you can simplify the expression to lowest term. If we have y, I want to say -4, y minus 4 over y minus 4, y minus 1. Now we're going to simplify this expression to the lowest term. Now tell me, what's the operation between -4 and the parentheses? Someone tell me.
What's the question again?
Multiplication. What about the two parentheses? Two parentheses, that means the operation between these two parentheses also multiplication. So this is the condition. You can cancel the terms if you have multiplication between number and parentheses and multiplication between two parentheses. So now Check the parentheses on the top. It's exactly the same parentheses here on the bottom. Y minus 4, Y minus 4. So I'm going to cancel this one with this one. The leftover from the top is -4. The leftover from the bottom is Y minus 1. If you want to keep the parentheses, it's right. If you want to take the parentheses out, it's going to be right also. You see, we simplify the expression to a lowest term. Let's do this example. A squared minus 3a over a plus 5 a minus 3. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to look to the top part here. Hide this one. The top part, we have minus between two terms. So what I'm going to do to make it multiplication, I need to find the common between these two terms. So who's going to tell me what's the common between these two terms? What's the common? Say it again.
The A.
The A. Because the A squared is A times A. And the 3A is 3 times A. So the common is A. So here is the A. Now I'm going to divide. A squared divided by A is going to be A. So here's another A minus 3A divided by A, 3A divided by A. You can cancel the A, so it's going to be 3. So it's going to be minus 3. Now, if you check, we have a number a variable times parentheses. That's mean multiplication here. On the bottom part, I can't do anything, so I'm just gonna write it down. A plus 5, A minus 3. So now let's see. We have exactly the same parentheses on the top and on the bottom. So we're going to cancel this one with this one. And the leftover from the top part is just the A. The leftover on the bottom is A plus 5. Again, you can't cancel this A with this A. Why? Because it's a plus between these two terms. It's not multiplication. So I can't cancel this one with this one. If you have A over A times 5, you can cancel these because it's multiplication. But if you don't have like this one, it's a plus between these two terms. So I can't cancel this A with this one. So the solution is going to be this one. To simplify this expression, the lowest term, this one, which is A over A plus 5. So check what I'm going to do with this one. Because I need to factor the top part and I need to factor the bottom part. So I'm going to factor the top part, write down the result here. Then I'm going to go back, factor the bottom part, and write down the result here. Then simplify the result to the final solution. You see these steps. So now let's start working with the first one. So I'm going to take the top part here because I'm going to use the AC method on the top part. So y squared plus 4y minus 12. I'm going to use the AC method here. When I'm done, I'm going to write down the solution here. Then I'm going to go back, use the AC method on the bottom part. So here, the AC method, here's the A and here's the C. 1 times 12, that means the AC here is 12. Let's factor the 12. We're going to factor the 12 to two numbers. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. That's it. These the 12. Which one I'm going to use to get 4? I'm going to use the second option, but I'm going to say -2 plus 6. Why? Because -2 plus 6 is going to be 4, which is the middle term. So I'm going to write down the first one, y squared minus 2y plus 6y minus 12. Now you see I have 4 terms. I'm going to group the first 2 terms, and I'm going to group the last 2 terms. What's the common between y squared and -2y? You can do that on the side. What's the common between y squared? It's y times y. 2y, it's 2 times y, so the common is y. I'm going to open parentheses. Divide y squared, divide by y. That means y times y, divide by y, cancel one y, the leftover is just y. Divide 2y, divide by y. You're going to cancel the y, so it's going to be only 2. That means y minus 2. Close the parentheses. Let's go to the second part. What's the common between 6y and 12? You can do the same thing here. 6y, which is 6 times y, and 12, which is 6 times 2. So the common is 6. So I'm going to write down plus 6. Then I'm going to start dividing. 6y divide by 6 is going to be just y, because we're going to cancel the 6. 12 divided by 6 is going to be 2. So I got exactly the same parentheses. So it's going to be y minus 2. And the leftover is going to be y plus 6. So we're done from the top part. I'm just going to write down the solution, this one here on the top. Y minus 2 and y plus 6. So this is the top part. We simplified the top part by using the AC method. Why I'm using the AC method? Because the top part are 3 terms, and I can use the AC method when I have 3 terms. So do it, then I get 4 terms. Write down the solution here on the top. Now we're gonna go back and use the AC method on the bottom part. We're gonna do, you see, so the AC method is really important, or the factor in polynomial is really important. So I'm gonna write down the bottom part, which is y squared plus 5y minus 14. Also, I'm going to use the AC method. 1 times 14, that means the AC is going to be 14. We're going to factor the 14, 114, 2, 7. That's the only 2 options. So now I'm going to use one of these options to get 5. So I'm going to say minus 2 plus 7. Minus 2 plus 7 is going to be positive 5, which is the middle term. So I'm going to write down y squared here minus 2y plus 7y minus 14. Now what we're going to do, I have 4 terms. I'm going to group the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms. we're going to do exactly the same thing here. What's the common between y squared and 2y? Is that exactly the same thing here, the same process? Y squared is y times y. 2y is 2 times y, so the common is y. Then open parentheses. Dividing y squared divided by y. This is exactly the same thing here. Is going to be y. 2y divided by y. 2y divided by y is going to be just 2. We done it from the first part. What's the common between 7y and 14? 7y, that means 7 times y. 14 is 7 times 2. So the common is 7. So I'm going to say plus 7. Now 7y divided by 7. Cancel the 7 is going to be y. So it's going to be y minus 14 divided by 7 is going to be 2. So it's going to be here's 2. This parenthesis is exactly the same thing here. So it's going to be y minus 2 and y plus 7. So this is the bottom part. I use the AC method. So I'm going to write down these two parentheses on the bottom part here. So y minus 2, y plus 7. So until now, I'm just using the AC method. I use the AC method to find the top part, and I use the AC method to factor the bottom part, and here is the solution for each part. If you check this parentheses, it's exactly the same thing here. That means the leftover from the top is y plus 6 and y plus 7 on the bottom part. So we simplify this expression to the lowest term, and the result is y plus 6 over y plus 7. Again, I can't cancel the y with the y because it's a plus between these two terms and it's a plus between these two terms, so I can't. Just when you have multiplication between the parentheses or multiplication between the numbers, you can cancel the exact same number or simplify it to a lowest term. So only when you have multiplication, like this case, you're gonna cancel the same parentheses and write down the leftover here. That means you simplify this term to a lowest term. So here's another example. Again, the important steps here is about how to factor the polynomial. So before we start studying this section, you have to make sure you know how to factor the polynomial. So here's another example. We have 4x plus 3 divided by 20x squared plus 23x plus 6. I need to simplify these two terms. I'm going to write down the result here. Then I'm going to cancel to get the last result. If you check the top part, you can't factor this binomial. Two terms. The first step, I need to find GCF between 4x and the 3. There is no GCF between 4x and the 3. And we can't use difference between 2 squared because it's a plus between the terms. So I'm just going to write down exactly the same thing. So I'm going to work on the bottom part here because I have 3 terms. So I'm going to write down 20x squared plus 23x plus 6. We have 3 terms, so we're going to use the AC method. The AC method, this is the A and this is the C. A times C. 20 times 6 0 to 1, 120. We're going to factor 120 to two numbers, and we will see the first number always start with 1. So 1 and 120. With 2 is going to be 60. With the 3 is going to be 40. With 4 is going to be 30. You can't with 5. With 6 is going to be 20. With 6 is going to be 20. With 7 you can't. With 8 is going to be 15. You see how many options do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which option I'm going to use to get 23? The last option, which is the only one, because 8 plus 15 is going to be 23. So I'm going to use this one, plus 15. So here is the 20, x squared, plus 8x, plus 15x, plus 6. Now I have 4 terms. I'm going to group the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms. What's the common between 20x squared and 8x? Let's do these steps on the side. Common between 20x squared, which is, I'm going to write down 4 times 5x times x. What's the common? And here's the 8x. It's 4 times 2, and here's the x. So the common with numbers is 4. And with variables, just x. So I'm going to write down 4x. Now I'm going to divide. 20x squared divided by 4x. 20x squared divided by 4x. 20 divided by 4 is going to be 5. X squared, you're going to cancel one x, is going to be 5x. Eight x divided by 4x. 8 divided by 4 is going to be 2. Cancel the x, so just 2 plus 2. Close the parentheses. We're done from the first one. Let's go ahead and work on the second one. What's the common between 15x and 6? So here is the 15x. 15x, which is 3 times 5x. The 6 is 3 times 2. So the common is 3. So I'm going to write down plus 3, open parentheses. Let's start dividing. 15x divided by 3. 15 divided by 3 is going to be 5, and here is the x. So it's going to be 5x. 6 divided by 3 is going to be 2. So it's going to be plus 2. Now, if you check, we got exactly the same parentheses. So I'm going to write down these 2 parentheses here as a 5x plus and the leftover is going to be 4x plus 3. This is the result for the bottom part. I'm just going to go back and write down the result on the bottom part, which is here. So it's going to be 5x plus 2 and 4x plus 3. Now here's the questions. check, there's no parentheses here, but if you see these two terms, I'm gonna ask you, if you see these two terms, exactly the same thing here. That's mean I'm going to cancel this one with this one. Who's gonna tell me what's the leftover on the top part? On the bottom part, the leftover is 5x plus 2.
1.
Perfect. So you see, when you cancel the whole thing on the top part, the leftover is not 0. If you write down 0, it's wrong. So the leftover is going to be 1. So it's going to be 1 over 5x plus 2. That's the result. We simplify this expression to a lowest term, just 1 over 5x plus 2. So a squared minus 36 over a squared plus 9a plus 19. We're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to factor the polynomial on the top, and we're going to factor the polynomial on the bottom, and write down the result. Then we're going to cancel exactly the same parentheses. So here is the polynomial, the first one, a squared minus 36. I can factor this polynomial because it's difference between two squared. Difference between two squared. So, because this one is 8 times 8, and this one 6 times 6. So I'm just going to open two parentheses, 1 plus, 1 minus, 1a here, and 6 here, a here, and 6 here. We're done from the first one. I'm going to add down the result here. So it's going to be a plus 6, a minus 6. Then I'm going to write down the bottom part here, and we're going to use the AC method on the bottom part. So a squared plus 9a plus 18. We're going to use the AC method here, the a here, which is 1. The c is 18. So a times c is going to be 18. Let's factor the 18 to two numbers, 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. Which option I can use to get the middle term, which is 9? The only options is 3 and 6. So I'm going to say plus 3 plus 6. So it's going to be a squared plus 3a plus 6a plus 18. Now I'm going to group the first two terms and the last two terms. What's the common between a squared and the 3a? The common between a squared and the 3a is, here is a squared, which is a times a, 3a, which is 3 times a. So the common is a. Now I'm going to divide. A squared divided by a is going to be a, plus 3a divided by a is going to be 3. You can do exactly the same steps here on the side. Now, what's the common between 6a and 18? 6a and 18. 6a is 6 times a. 18 is 6 times 3. So the common is 6. Now we're going to divide. 6a divided by 6 is going to be just a. 18 divided by 6 is going to be 3. We get exactly the same parentheses. So it's going to be a plus 3, and the leftover is a plus 6. We got exactly the same result. This is the result for the bottom part. I'm going to write down everything here. So a plus 3, a plus 6. So you see, there's multiplication here, there's multiplication here. I'm going to cancel this one with this one because it's exactly the same parentheses. The leftover on the top is a minus 6, and the leftover on the bottom, if you want to put the parentheses, is fine. The leftover on the bottom part is a plus 3. That's it for this example. You can't do anything on the bottom part. Why? Because it's one term. 20x squared, it's one term. So let's write it down exactly the same. 20x squared. Focus here, I'm going to ask you. Then next step, we're going to find the common on the top part. So let's find the common here. What's the common between 16x cubed, which is 4 times 4, 1x, 2x, 3x's. 4x is 4 times x. So the common between this term and the 4x, the numbers is 4 and 1x is from each side. So it's going to be 4x. This is the common. I'm going to open parentheses. The leftover, 16 divided by 4. Let's do these steps also here. 16x cubed divided by 4x. 16 divided by 4 is going to be 4. X cubed divided by x is going to be x squared. So it's going to be 4x squared. Let's keep going. 4x divided by 4x is going to be 1, because 4x divided by 4x is going to be 1. Now, here's the questions. We have to simplify. Why? Because it's multiplication between 4x and the parentheses. So I can simplify the numbers and the variables. 4 with the 20, if you simplify it, how much is going to be the result? Focus on this example. This is put a star on it. It's really important.
5.
How much?
5.
The 5 is going to be on the top or on the bottom?
Top.
No, that's the important thing. That's why I told you write down, put down stars on this one. Here's the thing. We're going to simplify 4 over 20. 4 over 20. How much is the result? How are we going to simplify 4 over 20? You're going to divide both by what? By 4, right? As a fraction. You're going to divide this one by 4, and you're going to divide this one by 4. 4 divided by 4 is going to be 1. 20 divided by 4 is going to be 5. You see the 5? The 5 on the bottom part. So when I simplify the numbers, it's going to be, here is the 1, and here is the 5. Let's keep going. X and x squared. X and x squared. Is that the same thing? X divided by x times x? Yes or no?
Yes.
Cancel the x's. How much the result? What's the leftover on the top?
1 over x.
1 over x. So times 1 over x. And here's the parentheses, 4x squared plus 1. Now 1 times 1 is going to be 1. That means the result is going to be parentheses 4x squared plus 1 over 5x. So be careful with this example, because the 5x is going to be on the bottom, not on the top. So it's going to be the parentheses over 5x. Exactly what we did here. You're going to simplify the numbers, like what I did here. 4 divided by 20, divide both by 4 is going to be 1/5. So I'm going to write down 1/5. Then x with x squared. Do the same thing here. X and x squared. X times x is going to be 1/x. I'm going to write down 1/x. And this is the leftover here. I'm just going to write it down on the top. 1 times 1 is going to be 1. It doesn't change anything. So I'm going to, here's the 1. So it's going to be the parentheses, and from the bottom part is going to be 5x. Put down the stars on this one. It's really important.